Assassin's Creed is without a doubt one of Ubisoft's most successful franchises. It's their $4 billion baby, and it's easy to see why it's gotten so popular over the years. It's got solid free climbing mechanics and parkour animations, it lets you assassinate historical figures, and it gives you the opportunity to perform suicidal dives off of high places into piles of hay. I wanna try. But before Assassin's Creed became the gaming icon it is today, there was a little game series by the name of Prince of Persia. Dropping its debut game back in 1989 for your grandfather's 2-ton brick-ass Apple II computer, the OG Prince of Persia was a side-scrolling parkour platformer where you play as the prince, fighting through levels to save your princess. Now I know what you're thinking, that's a completely original storyline, I know. I've never seen anything like it before or since. Ubisoft would first get their grubby little fingers on the franchise back in 1993 when they helped publish Prince of Persia 2, The Shadow and the Flame. I love that Guitar Hero song. The sequel was a small improvement over the original game, especially in the visual department, but it was the third game that would bring a drastic change for the series, one that would put Prince of Persia on track to giving birth to our favorite assassins. It was the year 1999, and the third Prince of Persia game released, with possibly one of the greatest names I've ever heard for a third title in a series. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Prince of Persia 3. D, because it's a 3D game. Do you get it? The devs at Red Orb had to take all of the parkour elements and combat of the previous games and translate them into the 3D world, which at the time was a pretty big undertaking, especially since 3D games were still going through their growing pains. So, how well did Prince of Persia 3D turn out? Well, it was definitely no Assassin's Creed, I'll tell you that. At least not yet. The gameplay was slightly broken, the camera controls completely useless, and the combat animations were just absolutely a jank. To quote the GameSpot review of the game, turning the prince while running feels like trying to steer an 18-wheeler. How very descriptive. Thank you, GameSpot. So it wasn't the best in the series, but good old Ubisoft would end up buying the rights to Prince of Persia, and boy, they ran with it faster than I run to the bathroom after binging 12 Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell. Ubisoft Montreal would be in charge of rebooting the franchise with the release of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Compared to the last game, the parkour animations in this one were smoother than a newborn's booty cheeks. The environments, platforming, and puzzles were top notch. You could do all these aerial flips and shit like some kind of coked up circus trapeze artist. The combat was also a big step up from the previous game. It was way more fluid and flashy, and you could suck sand out of each enemy like a murderous Dyson vacuum to gain your power. Sands of Time was a hit, so naturally, Ubisoft being Ubisoft, they'd want to develop a sequel. And this is where our Assassin's Creed story begins. The start of a brand new franchise that would, for better or for worse, bring some everlasting change to the gaming landscape. Howdy boys and squirrels, my name is Alan, and this is the intro to the video 3 minutes in, but if you care to stick around, I want to talk about how Assassin's Creed changed the gaming scene. And if you want to change my life, you can hit that subscribe button, because it's, well, because you can. After the success of Sands of Time, a small team at Ubisoft Montreal started to work on a possible sequel, and with the 7th generation of consoles on the horizon, Ubisoft was looking to push the limits of this new game to showcase the power of next-gen gaming. They had originally wanted a detailed, open-world Prince of Persia game, but the team didn't want to focus on the prince again, and I understand. I mean, this guy's already had 4 games. Like, have you ever seen another game franchise focus on the same character for so damn long? What are you, brain dead? That's ridiculous. Who does that? It was time for Ubisoft to switch it up. So the team dove into new topics, including old secret societies, and more specifically, the Order of Assassins. This was a real 11th century Persian secret society that would later expand their influence all across Syria and the rest of the Middle East, assassinating people they deemed enemies of their state. So just about anybody who disagreed with them. Oh, hey. Xbox or PlayStation? Oh, whoa, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of a PC gamer myself. Wrong. The correct answer was the SpongeBob SquarePants plug-and-play TV game. Idiot. They had originally titled the game Prince of Persia: Assassin, but Ubisoft was having a big ol' hissy fit about the game not having the prince as the main character. However, they saw potential in the game, so they let the team continue on the project. And with even more creative freedom at their disposal, they leaned into a historical, genetic time-traveling sci-fi idea that would become Assassin's Creed. Now, by the time the game released in 2007, 3D open-world games were nothing new. Plenty of games had released with a full day and night cycle and allowed players to progress and explore the world at their own pace. But Assassin's Creed would bring a whole new meaning to the open world genre, and in some ways, it would introduce concepts that our games of today still use as a template. And the perfect example would be those now godforsaken Ubisoft Towers. I never said these would all be good things. These weren't just cool little landmarks that a player would be able to admire and birdwatch. No, these were climbable places where you'd get to the top of the tower and uncover a small piece of the map. It was a pretty clever way at the time to encourage exploration and reward players for their curiosity. But the idea of climbing the tower to unlock a part of the map after watching a lazy, spinny cinematic of the surrounding world would be copied and overused in so many other games that even to this day, if you stick your head out the window late at night and put your ear up against the wind, you might catch a whiff. You might catch the cries of a helpless gamer whose soul is dying on the inside when he realizes he has about 80 more towers to climb to reveal everything there is to see on the map. Okay, maybe I'm being a little dramatic. I mean, the towers aren't the worst things in the world. If they're done correctly, they could be super engaging and fun, but for a lot of them, they just feel a little uninspired and forced onto the player instead of being this fun little side thing you can knock out on your way to the next quest or something. But maybe I'm the only one who has a problem with the towers. Let me know down below, do you love climbing towers in games? Is it your bread and butter, or is it your absolute vomit chicken noodle soup and you'd rather gag on a walnut than climb another tower? What am I saying? The original AC game would also revolutionize the way open world games functioned, and set a good example for how the environment could play a bigger, more interactive role for the players. Now, I didn't graduate college with a PhD in making sense, and hell, if I'm being honest, I didn't graduate at all. But I'm gonna try to explain what I mean as best as I can. See, the majority of open world games that released before the first AC game felt like it had this separation between player and environment. There were these two sides. There was you, the player, who controlled the character, and then on the other side there was the game world, which simply served as eye candy so you weren't just running around in an empty space. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some fantastic breakthrough open world games to release before the first Assassin's Creed, but rarely did I feel like these two sides of player and environment come together and just... Assassin's Creed began to blend the environment with gameplay on a completely new level. Not only could you walk the streets, but you could climb the streets. Your surroundings had an active role in the strategy of the game. Blending in with the monks, avoiding pestering beggars as you make your escape, hiding in plain sight on benches, and popping out of your favorite little haystack to stab a man made the world feel more like a playground than just a backdrop. But it wasn't just the NPCs and hiding spots that made this game stand out, but everything in the world was climbable. The windowsills, ledges, and decorations weren't just there for good looks. You could run up to them and scale up a building to gain a higher vantage point so you could commit murder from above. Now you didn't just have the playground, but you had the whole goddamn jungle gym on your hands, Bobby. Although not yet perfect, these were the baby steps to bringing these two sides together in holy matrimony, and you may now kiss the bride. You guys are gonna have beautiful babies together. The freedom to seamlessly move anywhere throughout the environment, horizontally and vertically, has always been a staple to the series, and it's a mechanic that Ubisoft would continue to build upon and improve with each game. I've always admired how relentless the dev teams have been on trying new things, even if some of the ideas are a little hit and miss. It's not perfect, but very few games come even remotely close to the complexity and accuracy of the Assassin's Creed parkour system. And let's not forget the incredible technical achievements that the Assassin's Creed series as a whole would continue to push throughout the years. The amount of on-screen NPCs would continue to grow with each game, and I have yet to see another game push more on-screen characters than Assassin's Creed Unity did and not completely explode the frame rates, at least on a PC. It's not perfect, but it's still damn impressive. Like a lot of you watching, I grew up with these games. They have a special place in my heart, and it feels like every game release marked a new chapter in my life. Like I can distinctly remember growing up during the Brotherhood days pretty damn vividly. Even if the series today has evolved to something a little unrecognizable to what it used to be, we can't deny the incredible impact it's had and continues to have on the gaming industry, whether good or bad. So I originally wanted to talk about the Assassin's Creed series as a whole, but there was a lot more to unpack than I thought, so I'm thinking about making a part 2 follow-up video and maybe even a third one for Valhalla. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Assassin's Creed series is a blessing on the gaming industry, or an absolute curse that has ruined everything you know and love? It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but you know what I'm getting at. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna pop a squat while I talk to you. I know it's been like a month since the last video. There's been a lot of life stuff going on, but I appreciate you guys waiting and sticking around. Hopefully the next video won't take me another month. It shouldn't. I'm getting stuff sorted out, but I appreciate you guys sticking around and subscribing. We are nearly at 200 subscriberinos. That's amazing. I don't know what a subscriberino is. thank you for watching. And hey, tell your dog I said hi. And don't forget to feed it, because then it'll die. And you'll have to pay for the funeral, and that's expensive. And it's also abuse. So I'm gonna go. Bye.